Welcome to the Yankee Chronicle. I'm Laura James, filling in for Abby Peel, and I'll be your host once again this week. Now, this is our last week coming to you from the beautiful First Baptist Church in New London, New Hampshire. Join us today as Pastor Glidewell tells us about and invites you to their annual ecumenical Christmas gathering. And we'll hear about a housing forum coming up on November 13th in New London. Interview I did with Marion Hafner about pre-funeral planning. And I'll close. We'll meet the artist whose work is now hanging in the Center for the Arts Micro Gallery. It's in the New London Inn. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this message from the underwriting businesses that keep YCN, your local view, coming to you.
This program is supported by Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire since 1997, with roots going back much further as the country press, AccuMail, and the home of the Kearsarge shopper. Echo Communications.
What a privilege it is today. We're at the First Baptist Church in New London, and we're speaking with Pastor Glidewell. Hi, Pastor.
Hi, great to be with you.
Oh, it's so good to see you. Every time we get together, you have something really wonderful to talk about. And I have to ask you before we start, how many years have you been here for?
I'm in my 14th year here. I just finished up 13 years.
How did that happen?
You tell me.
You blink of an eye, right?
Blink of an eye.
Yes.
Our kids are growing up, and it's all happening really, really fast.
In a wonderful community.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It really is.
My wife and I, we didn't even know what we were getting coming here, but how blessed we all are.
Well, we're blessed to have you. And you have been continuing this wonderful, wonderful event that happens right at the Christmas season. Tell us about it for those of us who are new to it.
Yeah, that's right. So our annual Lessons and Carols service here at the First Baptist Church, and we invite other churches to be a part of it. We call it's one of our ecumenical services that we do every year, and that's one of them, the Lessons and Carols service. The area choirs, the choirs from other churches partner together. They share the responsibility, the music directors do, share the leadership, and rehearse the traditional Christmas hymns and carols that we sing, and people from, not only from churches, but just anyone from the community attends.
You know, if you haven't been, I strongly suggest it. This has been going on for decades. I used to bring my children when they were little, and now they're not little anymore. Yeah.
It is a lovely service and a lovely way to enter into the season.
It really is. And you know, what's wonderful is the collaboration, the ecumenical aspect of it. Tell us about it. Is that hard, easy, or is it?
Very easy. I mean, it's actually quite natural. I mean, we're all Christians, right? Worshiping at different churches, but here for the same occasion, right? To celebrate the birth of Christ into the world, to sing those 9 hymns, and to read those 9 lessons that tell the story.
Oh, don't even mention any of the hymns. I'll start to tear up.
Yeah.
It is every year I come and sit in the pews, and what a beautiful setting. And you see all the choirs just dotted around the balcony. It's magnificent.
Yes, it is.
It really is. So when you're working with the churches on this, do you have a lot of practices, or does it just kind of happen organically?
It's a little bit of both, yeah, and we try to do it a little bit different every year, and thank you. You're actually getting my, you're jogging my memory here and my creative juices a little bit, because I do try to do something a little bit different with the readings, and so some year area clergy will read the lessons. I've invited youth some years to read the lessons. I've invited community members. One year we had members of CREM.
Yes,
do the readings, yeah.
Yes.
And so now you've got me thinking, what am I going to do this year?
and that's really just the way to do it. I mean, it is, you're heading right into the season, right? Something that is just wonderful is the bell choir.
Absolutely.
Oh, how often do they perform?
They, that's a good question. I would say that they perform in our church services maybe 5, 6, 7 times a year.
Oh, it's wonderful.
And they are a part of our Lessons and Carols service as well.
Oh, that is just great. And I have to tell you, I was watching, it's on YouTube, of course, now. So we attended and sit here, and for those of us who've been a little nervous during COVID, and I say post-COVID, though it still has made its presence known, it's on YouTube.
It is.
And
the Chronicle was actually gracious enough to video it last year.
Yes.
Did a fantastic job. And I heard a comment, interestingly, this week about that, I think Yankee Chronicle came up, and yeah, they filmed the Lessons in Carol service last year, and it's still up, and yeah, so.
But there's nothing like attending in person.
Very true.
It really is. It does really get you ready. What do you want people to be thinking about as we enter the season this year? What's your message? What's significant to you, Pastor?
There's always hope, and that's what the Christmas season reminds us of. There's always hope, and Lessons in Carols, as I say, is a wonderful introduction into that frame of mind.
Sure. And I love that, a message. It's a simple word.
It is. The
Four-letter
simplest things are the
word.
best.
Yeah, it really is.
That's what's true, and so we have to remember that.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful, and a great message for all of us today. Okay, before we wrap it up, tell us the message that you'd like to send about the church. Anything coming up you'd like us to pay attention to?
Well, what I can do is just remind folks of time and date. So
Perfect.
The Lessons in Carol service will be on December 15th this year at 4 o'clock. Yep.
Typically is on a Sunday,
It is,
late
yeah.
in the afternoon, so
Correct.
at 4 o'clock. Okay,
Right.
so we'll make our plans to head over and
be
attend the
gathered here to
service.
worship.
And Pastor, 14 years, I'm still
Yeah.
in shock. I remember when you were new, right? And now not as new anymore.
Right.
That's right.
Old? Is that what you
Yeah.
meant?
Oh, no,
Old?
no. Just that other thing, the opposite of old.
Right.
Pastor, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you a joyous holiday season.
God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pastor Glidewell. This is a great way to remember the reason for the season. So stay with us on your Yankee Chronicle, your local view. Now, when we return, we'll hear about a housing forum coming up in New London. With the acute housing shortage and cost of ownership, you may want to attend. Stay with us on YCN, your local view, for a word from one of our supporters. And by the way, your business could also be an underwriter of our programming. Just contact us at info@ycnnow.com to learn more.
This program is supported by H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Their full-service model offers oil delivery, propane, motor fuels with design, installation, service, and maintenance of all types of oil, gas, and alternative energy systems, as well as air conditioning, water conditioning systems, and their highly trained and friendly staff will assist you throughout the process of buying, installing, and servicing a full line of energy products. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating.
Hi, I'm Jim Culhane. I'm the CEO of Lake Sunapee Visiting Nurse Association. We're coming up on some very important dates for Medicare enrollees. Specifically, it's the Medicare open enrollment period, which begins on October 15th and runs through December 7th. A lot of people stick with traditional Medicare. It's what you've been paying into for a considerable period of time. It's robust. It travels with you. You can choose your own doctors. But we realize that there are Medicare Advantage products, may offer some unique perks as well. You can talk to an insurance broker. You may also contact your local ServiceLink office because they have a program to help you navigate the variety of products and find a match that might be best for you. It's important for you to be aware that there are some Medicare Advantage products that may not cover services that are important to you. Services such as home health, which is a crucial part of this continuum of care necessary to help people stay home. Do your research, talk to the people who know and may have some answers and provide guidance. Reach out to ServiceLink as they have a program that can assist. But in the end, make sure you choose an insurance that provides the range of services you may feel you need in the future. The last thing you would like to do is to find out that you need a service that is either not paid for or not covered and find yourself with an unexpected bill after services are provided.
Welcome back to the Yankee Chronicle, the who, what, where, and when show of the Lake Sunapee region. I'm your host, Laura James, filling in for Abby Peel. Now, we do know housing is a crazy proposition nowadays for young people and workers in the area. Let's now hear about a forum to address these issues.
On November 13th at 6 o'clock in the evening at Colby Sawyer College in Wheeler Hall, the Housing Commission is hosting a public forum to talk about a report and a study done by a consulting firm out of Massachusetts that helps us to understand existing land use patterns, the demographics of our town, and what housing opportunities might exist in the future. We were very fortunate in June of 2024, this year, we received a grant, a Housing Opportunity Program grant from the New Hampshire Housing Authority, Finance Authority, to do planning in our town, to understand what our town is like, what the demographics might be, how the land is being used, where current housing is, what does our town really have as far as facts and figures? What do we like? What is the town character that makes this place so special? And with those funds, we were able to work with a consultant, RKG, and also Steve Whitman's group called Resilience Planning and Design out of Plymouth, who are doing an excellent job in helping us first understand the facts about our town today. What are the trends and opportunities in the future? The next phase of this study, this planning grant that we have, is the envisioning stage, is now that we understand the facts of our town, how would we envision addressing this housing situation in the future? And what types of housing, where it might be located? Where do we think it could best be placed and still fit within the concerns that we have for keeping our town and the character that it has? The last phase, if appropriate and if decided, the planning grant is to help us look at how to make those visions happen and whether or not the town is receptive to making visions happening. It may be that when we get to the end stage, we've studied it, we've envisioned it, and there may be some concern about increasing housing in the town. But at least we'll be fully educated, fully informed with these funds that come from New Hampshire Housing Finance Authority. Well, it's not just a New London problem. It's a regional problem. In fact, arguably, it's a national issue. And that is that the cost of housing has gone up so dramatically, both ownership and rental, that in the median incomes, the average incomes in any community, there is a shortage of housing. And we feel it here badly in New London. We're talking about housing for teachers and firefighters and nurses, and it's a real problem in that we want to attract them to build and continue the quality of life in our community, and yet there's no place for them to live. So the demographics I think we're going to see, and we'll find out on November 13th, the demographics that I think we're going to see as a pattern is that the older age cohorts, like myself, are coming to New London, and the younger cohorts, the younger age groups, are not. They're either not staying or they're not coming. And over time, that's a very, very dangerous situation for the quality of life in New London. So really, it's what we call middle market housing that we need. There are lots of expensive homes, and there's some very inexpensive ones, but we need middle market housing and we need rental housing. Now, some people say, well, this housing that we need, the units are going to be very small, or you can't live in an apartment forever. And perhaps that's true. But the important thing is it's a continuum. If you're a young person and you want to move to New London, you've got a great job offer, and you don't have a place to live, that's your first home, or maybe your first apartment, and you're going to then move into a small home. But it's a continuum in that over time, you'll build a family, you'll build relationships, and you'll establish roots here that will help us all as a community. I would say, please come, please come. It's most important that we all as a community, every resident, every voter, build a knowledge base about what we are. It's so easy to respond to every March to a vote on an issue, whether it's regulatory change or whatever, without having done your homework, without having really understood the details. And I get it, it's complex stuff. But we now have a consultant who's helping us to encapsulate all that information, to study it and lay it out for us, just as they have with many other New England towns. So we understand what the facts are. So we make decisions on facts and not emotions or misinformation or not enough information. That's the beauty of it. And this is being hosted at Colby Sawyer College in Wheeler Hall. It's a wonderful venue. We will have RKG consultants there. We'll have refreshments, and it'll be a very comfortable setting so that we'll have a presentation and a real opportunity for the community to engage and ask questions and learn. Because I don't know about other people, but the way I learn is when I ask a question and I hear the answer. So please come. It's going to be very informative. It's going to lay the groundwork for a lot of good discussion going forward, and it's a key part of our outreach from the Housing Commission to learn what the community is interested in hearing about with respect to housing. And we'll have refreshments, so please come and engage, listen, and ask as many questions as you can to make it clearer.
Now, when we return, the final installment of an interview I did with Marion Hafner about pre-funeral planning. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this message from the underwriting businesses that keep YCN, your local view, coming to you.
This program is supported by the Innertown Record, your weekly hometown community newspaper covering the Kearsarge-Sunapee-Sunshine region of New Hampshire. The Innertown Record.
You're looking at the #1 cause of lung cancer. That's why the Surgeon General issued this warning. Now you're looking at the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers. That's why the Surgeon General issued this warning. Radon is an invisible radioactive gas that seeps inside your home from underground. Whether you smoke or not, radon can cause lung cancer. Protect your family. Have your home tested. Call 1-800-SOS-RADON. Radon problems can be fixed.
We are back with Marion Hafner. Thank you for having us again.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, it's good to be here.
Yes.
You know, we're at Chadwick's Funeral Home, if you know, in case you're just joining us, and we're talking about pre-planning of funerals and services. And we spoke last week about how to do that. Bring in the family, bring in your children, come in yourself, right?
Yes.
And what is that the best way to approach it?
It is. It's important to include especially the children or whoever is in charge, because you know, you're not going to be here.
Right.
And it's important to let the kids know what you would like, and so to see if they'll follow through with it, if they're comfortable with that. Because if they aren't, then, you know, you really need to have a discussion about what it is that
you want. Right. And there are a lot of variables. We've all been to wakes and funerals and memorial services, and it can it be anything, any combination thereof?
Yes, it certainly can be, and you know, it can be very simple, or it can be a little bit more drawn out, or you know, whatever it is that you like, or it can be a couple of different locations or just one location. You can involve food or not.
Sure. No, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense, because if you have family out of state,
right,
and you want to have another service, and
that's right.
Yeah. Okay. That makes makes sense. So, what are some of the things we should be thinking about in pre-planning?
Right. So I guess the biggest things to think about are, you know, the basic questions. Would you like a traditional casket burial, or would you like to be cremated and then have a burial, or then have something else happen? And nowadays, of course, you know, people are talking about green burials, and other things are coming down the pike. But
what is a green burial?
A green burial is it's in a special section, usually, of a cemetery, where you don't have to have a casket as such, or you might have to, depending on the rules of the cemetery. You can be wrapped in a shroud, but there's no chemical, and you know, like there's no embalming. There's certain regulations about how deep you have to be buried, and still a lot of cemeteries in New Hampshire aren't quite up to that yet. They're trying to work on it and figure out how to make it work.
Right, but if someone comes in with that request, you can help them work through that process.
Certainly can try, yes.
Right.
We can work through the process, and then just finding a cemetery that will allow it. That's the tricky thing.
That would make sense, exactly.
Right.
Because I guess, like everything with technology and the world, things are evolving.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
And our cemeteries around here don't open in the winter, so it's a little tough to have a green burial in the winter when we can't get into the cemetery. So that's something that most of the small cemeteries are still trying to work out.
Work their way through. Okay, so we're thinking about caskets. We're thinking about types of services.
Yes. Yeah. Do we want to have calling hours? You could have calling hours or visitation with a casket present, and then you could have cremation after that. So, or you could have, you know, go right to the cemetery and have a full earth burial. You can really mix and match and do what you feel like is right for you.
Sure.
So you could take the casket into church, and then we could have cremation.
Gotcha.
Or we could take the casket and then just go to the cemetery. So there's all sorts of different ways. Or we have calling hours here with nothing present.
I've been to them, and those
Yes.
are lovely too.
Yeah.
You know, with
Yeah.
flowers and a picture.
I was going to say, or we can have lots of pictures, or now a big thing is slideshows. We have a program where you can download pictures and we make a slideshow and you can see it here at the funeral home, or perhaps at another location depending on what kind of technology they have.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
That's
So
very popular.
You'll work in conjunction with the other, if it's out of state, say in Massachusetts or West
Yep.
Virginia, you'll work in conjunction with the funeral home there.
Yes, certainly.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
that sounds great.
Absolutely.
And, you know, we're going to be talking more coming up next week, but I really feel so compelled to thank you and Charlie and the boys, because there isn't a time that we've come to services here, and we all have here in New London or in Newport, and you're welcomed.
Yeah.
You I feel happy seeing you all.
Good. Well,
and,
thank you.
And
Yeah.
that means as a part of the community, that gives a lot of comfort.
Yep. Thank you.
Now, when we return, find out more about the Micro Gallery at the New London Inn. So stay with us on your Yankee Chronicle, your local view.
This program is supported by Main Street Bookends of Warner. For books, toys, games, cards, gifts, and a gallery of local art. Main Street Bookends of Warner.
Welcome back to your Yankee Chronicle. I'm Laura James, your host, filling in for Abby Peel. Now let's find out more about the Micro Gallery at the New London Inn.
I live in Enfield, New Hampshire. My husband and I arrived here in 2016, and we came here after retirement looking for a place on the lake, and so we moved to Muskoma Lake, and we moved to this area because my daughter lives in White River Junction, so that was convenient for us. And I always wanted to live on a lake, and my husband likes to do a lot of hiking, so we wanted to be near mountains, so that's kind of this area, and we both like being outdoors a lot. I grew up in Virginia and went to school at Carleton College in Minnesota, graduate school in Virginia Commonwealth, and all the time I kind of did art on the side. I was a clinical psychologist for my profession, and didn't really get back into painting more fully until kids left school, for college. And so that was around 1998. And then I painted a lot more. And then on retirement, I painted a lot more. So painting has always been a kind of serious hobby, I guess you'd say. I've been doing it a long time, mainly watercolor and oil painting. Basically, I paint things that kind of either appeal to me in terms of mood, or just the beauty of some scene, or something about a scene, or it could be an object, or even portraits of people and animals. But something catches my eye that appeals to me. So this painting up here is Woods Island across the lake from me, and we were out canoeing one day in the fall, I think it was last year, and the scenery was just luminous, because being on a lake, you're in a bowl, and all the hillsides were glowing, and then the island was in the shadow of the sun, and so it was silhouetted, sort of. And it just made this scene that I just thought was wonderful. And so, of course, I was just trying to capture it. And I think that one, in my opinion, was very successful. It captured what I was trying to capture. So this painting here is of the Muskoma Sailing Club at the end of the lake near the bridge. And one evening the water was just sparkling, and I just thought it was such a beautiful scene. And so I, again, just was trying to capture the sparkles on the water. This one is a little something different. I was at a friend's house, and she is a gardener, as I am, but she was growing heirloom peppers. And they were on the windowsill, and the sun again was just hitting them, and I just really thought the light hitting the red peppers was just wonderful. And all these different shades of red and just the different shapes of the peppers just really appealed to me, so I was trying to capture that. So this painting is Kempton Brook in the fall, and I drive by there a lot because it's on the way to Enfield from here. And again, I was just capturing what I was seeing, and I try to do a sort of realism, but very loosely. And so it's not totally realistic. But again, trying to capture the light. I love doing reflections in the water, and I thought that one came out pretty well. And then this one down here is Messer Pond, and again in the fall, and again looking at reflections on the water, and trying to turn it into a nice composition if I can. If you want more information about my artwork and my paintings, I have a website, www.penelopesgallery.com. You can also email me at pennykob@gmail.com.
The Center for the Arts has several micro-galleries in the Lake Sunapee region. To find out who's showing and where, just go to their website, centerfortheartsnh.org. Coming up next week, our Yankee Chronicle will step aside to offer you the first Thursday and Friday of the month edition of Koburger Chronicle. The Koburger Chronicle will monthly focus on the Kearsarge Regional School District's people and happenings and highlight the works of the students and professionals serving your schools. I can't wait. In next week's show, we'll hear about from the co-presidents of the Educators Union, AI in the schools, the athletic department, and more. In preparation for voting, YCM will broadcast a League of Women Voters Forum highlighting our candidates for the New Hampshire House, Senate, and Executive Council, Saturday starting November 2nd at noon and 7 p.m., and on Monday at 2:30 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. Tune into YCN's live Game of the Week this Saturday at 1:53 p.m. as the Tigers of Newport host Guilford in football action Game of the Week. Game of the Week can be viewed on TDS channels 13 and 1013, Comcast 8, Roku, Apple TV, and for those that don't have cable, our YCNNow.com website on demand anytime. Check out the schedule of all of our upcoming games on our website. Join me again next week for the first edition of Koburger Chronicle. I'm Laura James. Enjoy November, everyone.
This program is supported by H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Their full-service model offers oil delivery, propane, motor fuels with design, installation, service, and maintenance of all types of oil, gas, and alternative energy systems, as well as air conditioning, water conditioning systems, and their highly trained and friendly staff will assist you throughout the process of buying, installing, and servicing a full line of energy products. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire since 1997, with roots going back much further as the country press, ecumenical, and the home of the Kearsarge shopper. Echo Communications. Main Street Bookends of Warner, for books, toys, games, cards, gifts, and a gallery of local art. Main Street Bookends of Warner. The Innertown Record, your weekly hometown community newspaper covering the Kearsarge Sunapee Sunshine region of New Hampshire. The Innertown Record.